Today on the channel, I'm going to give you some Jimi Hendrix tips and show you how to play Little Wing. Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. Today I'm going to give you some tips and tricks on how to sound like Jimi Hendrix, and I'm going to show you a brief lesson on how to play Little Wing. So let's start off. First of all, Jimi Hendrix clearly played with a Fender Stratocaster for the bulk of his career. Once in a while you might see him playing an SG or something like that, but Fender Strat was the weapon of choice. Jimi played a lot through Marshalls and Fender amps. He liked the neck pickup a lot for the type of stuff I'm going to show you today, which is real pentatonic, a lot of thirds, a lot of major minor relatives going on here. So let me give you some quick insight on how to get kick started and develop a little bit of a Jimi Hendrix flair to your sound, okay? It's going to require a little bit of music theory. Don't get caught up so much into the whys of the music theory, just how to execute it, okay? And let your ears be your guide, and eventually this will make a lot more sense if you're not familiar with it. But in music, there are things called relative major and relative minor keys. And all that means is if you can use one particular scale, whether it's in a minor key or a major key, and it will sound acceptable. I'll give you an example. All right, so A minor is right here. Now we're going to be talking pentatonics today, not major scales, not minor scales. We're going to strictly be talking about the pentatonic box that most of us know, which is in A minor pentatonic. It's this. Okay? So A minor is the same as C major. They're called relatives, relative minor and major. If you look on a keyboard, if anybody knows how to play piano, all the white keys on a keyboard is the key of C major. That's also the key of A minor. C major, you start on C and go up 8 notes to C in 1 octave on a keyboard. If you go A to A, that's an A minor scale. Same scale, same notes, just your starting point is different. So if we're doing an A minor and we're in A minor, like we can play in that box shape and it sounds acceptable. Now if we're in C, now check this out. I'm going to play a C chord. I'm going to play an A minor pentatonic shape. Really, an A minor pentatonic box shape is a C major pentatonic box shape. So you can use this shape whether you're in the key of A minor or playing over an A minor chord or a C major chord, all right? Now, Jimi Hendrix used this all the time in his music. Whether he really understood why or what the reasoning was behind that, who knows? Doesn't really matter. He knew that it sounded right based on his ear, okay? So how do we determine what is a relative major and a relative minor? You have to understand that to basically make this work and be able to create your own music and jam over stuff. So one way to think about it is on your low E string, if you're on an A, you got to know it's E, F, F sharp, G, G sharp, A sharp, B, C, C sharp, D, D sharp, E, right? So you got to have that memorized. It just goes right up the chromatic scale up through E, okay? So when we're on A, that's where you find your pentatonic shape for A minor. If you want to do a B minor pentatonic, you just go up to B. Okay? You want to do G minor? You're right here. There's your G. Now there's shapes, there's different patterns of this pentatonic scale throughout the neck, but we're only going to focus on this one basic position that most of us play in for right now, okay? So now if you want to figure out, say you're in G minor, and you want to figure out what's the relative major, what major chords can I play this pattern over? Well, take your pinky, and wherever your pinky goes on that pattern, it goes up there's 2 frets in between, so up 4 frets, that's a B flat, G, G sharp, A sharp, or B flat, same thing. So it's B flat major pentatonic. So G minor is the same thing as B major. And you can, one easy way to memorize that is it's the second note of the pentatonic scale when you're in the minor position, okay? So it's where your pinky would land. So check this out. Here's how Jimi Hendrix would put this theory into practice. A lot of his songs were in E. I'm tuned to E flat because Jimmy tuned to E flat, and quite honestly, E flat is the best tuning for a Strat in my opinion. It just sounds richer and sonically more pleasing to me. So we're in E flat. If you're tuned to E flat, you kind of play along with me, but Jimmy liked E major. He liked 1, 4, 5 patterns, which means he liked E, he liked A, and he liked B. He also, threw in D's and G's. He threw in a lot of stuff, but when you play blues, a lot of it's 1, 4, 5. So E, F, G, A. There's A is your 4, B is your 5. We're gonna stick to just E major right now. So if we're in E major, a lot of times you hear Jimi Hendrix do something like. So what he's doing is he's playing the E major pentatonic scale over that, but he's adding double stops. He's adding 2 notes. So where do we find this E major pentatonic scale? All right, so if we take our pinky, there's E right there. So it's also the same thing as a C sharp minor pentatonic. So it's the blues scale starting way up here on the 9th fret. Now if we play a C sharp minor, go to E. Same exact pattern that I'm doing over 2 different chords, right? So how am I making it sound juicy? How am I making it sound Hendrixy? So what I'm doing there is I'm just down picking, and I'm picking lightly. I'm not really digging into the strings. I'm kind of letting the pick kind of glide off the strings, but putting enough pressure on them to make them sound bright and resonant. You got to use a lot of inflection in your picking hand when you strike these notes because you want to kind of put emotion into it, right? So what I'm doing here is we're in E, so we're going to take the C sharp minor pentatonic, which is also the E major pentatonic. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to just, as I go up this scale, starting on the 5th string, or the low A, that's what I'm doing, but I'm going to go. So what I'm doing is I'm taking 2 notes at a time, like the G and the B string. All right, and I'm going to hammer on with my ring finger on the 11th fret on the G string. And I'm going to go do the next 2 strings down, the D and the G, and I'm going to go the A and the D. So you can go. And then you can do like the minor chord, like this. I take my pinky and I can do a double stop here on the 12th fret on the B and the E. And this is a great one. And and that's a major third. So what I'm doing there is I'm holding the 9th fret on the D and the 11th fret on the A. So you can do these double stops on the 9th fret, and then you got these chords. All right, so when we're on that E chord, now check it out. I'm going to go down to a D. All right, so I'm playing a D. So we're going to move this down to the D major pentatonic. So here's our D. That's also a B minor. They're relative, B minor, D major. And watch this. I'm going to go E major pentatonic, and I'm going to go down to D and do D major pentatonic, which is also B minor. So here we go, E. Now I'm going to go A, which is an F sharp minor. Now Jimmy liked to add major thirds to his chords too. So if we're in this E shape right here, all right, when we go up to the C sharp minor, this note right there is your third. So 1, 2, 3. So you can play this E shape here and put that major third over it. And since we're in the key of E, you can also let that low E chime. Sounds beautiful when you put some vibrato on it. Now I'm going to slide down 2 frets and do D. Now watch this, I'm going to play the A chord down here. Now I'm going to play an E down here. That's all E major pentatonic. So I encourage you to learn your major and your minors. So if I said to you, if you were sitting here in front of me right now and I said, cool, play me an F sharp minor pentatonic in the first position, you go, oh, there's F sharp, right? Cool, F sharp. So if I said, what's the major pentatonic that's associated with, you'd go, okay, let's see, what's that note? That's an A. All right, so I can also do F sharp minor over A major, same key. One thing you want to be aware of is when you're in a minor key, the root note, which is say we're in A minor, we'll go back to A minor. When you're in A, there's your octaves, your A's. So when you're soloing, a lot of times it makes sense to go back to that A. But remember, that A minor is a C major also. So you can land on an A, that's okay, but sometimes it makes more sense to land on a note that's within C since you're playing this position. So if we do a C, I'm going to focus around landing on a C. You could land on any note you choose. It's up to you, but note selection is really the key to soloing really well. And you hear people say, play to the changes, play to the chords, and that's what they're referring to, is when you're playing a C over this A minor pentatonic, you want to land on a note that sonically makes sense in the phrase. Okay, so how does this work out to be a lesson on Little Wing? Little Wing employs a lot of these techniques that I'm talking about. So thought about it, I could write out the tablature for this and spend a lot of time doing that, but I thought I would show you the theory around how he plays and then just demonstrate how to play Little Wing so that you can kind of play it on your own. Now, Jimi Hendrix played his songs differently almost every time that he played them live. And I like the Stevie Ray Vaughan version of this song. There's so many versions, and I've kind of adapted Little Wing to be kind of my own over the years. So I'm going to show you the fundamentals of Little Wing. It's almost impossible to play just like Jimmy, because Jimmy just did his own thing, which made him who he was, right? And it's very hard to replicate. We're not out to replicate Jimmy and sound like him. We want to sound similar and have that flair in our playing, so we can apply it to our own improvisation and music. Okay. So Little Wing is in the key of E minor. So E minor. We're going to start off with this. I'm going to play it for you, then I'm going to break it down slowly a couple times for you, and then I'm going to break down these riffs that we just talked about that are the pentatonic things. So from the beginning, this is how I play it. Okay, and the song pretty much just does that throughout, okay? So what we're going to do, we're going to start off with this first part, which is a low E. So I hit a low E, and I hit the high B and the E string up on the 12th fret. So it goes low E again. And then we're going to go hammer on. So I'm on the A and the D string. I hammer on the 2nd fret on the low A. Play an open D so it sounds like. So from the beginning. Then I go. I just slide down. I'm on a G now. But I'm gonna just hit the G right here. I'm gonna go. I'm on the 3rd fret on the B and the E. I'm going to hammer on the 5th fret on that high E. So I'm going to play a sussed G chord to a regular G up to an A minor 7. Okay, so it's like this. Here's where this technique comes in we just talked about a few minutes ago. So what I did there is I went an up pick, and I do this rake. I'm kind of holding the frets down with my pointer finger on the 5th fret. And I'm going to just ride back down the A minor pentatonic. Then low E. And then one lick I do as I go. And that's an E minor. I just kind of slide it up 2 frets and back down. So what I'm doing there is the B and the G string on the 7th and the 8th fret. So after we go up to the B minor. That's the same thing I did in the A minor position, but I'm up here in B minor. I'm going to rake up and hammer on. Then he goes. So what I did there was I lightly played the B minor 7. And I'm going to take my pinky, put it up here on the 10th fret while I'm holding this chord down. I'm going to play this B string on the 10th fret. So holding this chord down. And then go. So I'm just taking this B minor 7, going chromatically down to an A minor 7 chord. So, and here's where it gets a little bit tricky. We're in this, we're gonna do one of these again. He goes. So what I did there was I'm on the B, or the G and the D string on the 7th and the G string on the 5th. And I'm barring though. I'm taking a bar because we're going to be using all these strings right here. We're going to go right down like that. This is the hardest lick of the song that I've adopted. So what we did there is we're on the 7th on the D and the 5th on the G, but we're barring. I'm going to hammer on the 9th. Leave this finger here. And pick as you pull off. So we're going. This finger here is staying right on this fret. And I got my ring finger on the D string on the 7th. And then my pinky's going to be on the 9th. And then the next string down, the A string, I'm on the 8th, and then the 7th. This all stays barred. Then I go G again, and we're going to take this chord. So what that is, it's a G with an A on the high E string. So I'm going to take this G chord. I'm just going to fret it like this and make this shape. And I'm going to go slide it up 2 frets and back down. Then slide it down to the F shape. Then C. Then I take this shape and just bring it up to a D. Believe it or not, that's a D. So slowly, let me take this from the very beginning. We do a harmonic on the G and the B string, or just the top 4 strings on the 12th fret. Awesome. Now the main lick in that song that goes. That's probably the most memorable lick in that, the melody. So I'm in E minor pentatonic. But we're only going to be playing a couple strings. So he goes, I'm on the 15th fret on the B, bend it up 1 step. So I'm going between 15 and 12. And then the 14th on the G, bend up, then do this lick. So that's, then, you can be up here on the E minor too and go. All I'm doing is doing these double stop. I'm playing this pentatonic minor scale and playing 2 strings per pick. And we can go major. Cool, so I hope that helps. I know this was a little bit fast-paced and maybe more for the intermediate players out there, but even as a beginner, I promise you, the more that you work with this, it will make sense. Start with baby steps. Start with, you know, 1 pentatonic minor box shape and just play the heck out of it, right? And switch it around a little bit. And as you play chords, you know, get familiar with where your major and minor relatives are on the fretboard, and it will unlock so many doors for you and a fresh perspective on how to solo, especially if this is your kind of thing. So anyway, hope you enjoyed this kind of content. If you do, please consider subscribing, comment below, and as always, have a great day. Peace out.